For those who aren't across it or haven't been to New Zealand, I also included some slides on Destination New Zealand. Where you're seeing kind of the on our landing screen page is our Air New Zealand livery. It's our 77 Dreamliner that you'll see in a few markets globally, but tends to be the kind of the belle of the ball when folks travel to Air New Zealand. For any long-haul flight from the United States to New Zealand, you'll generally travel on one of these, a 787 Dreamliner or a 777 900. That's kind of the latest fleet available for our ultra long haul fleets. And before I did jump into kind of the details of our run at Air New Zealand, or kind of what's happening, I do want to note that we're actually doing this in good timing, and that this Tuesday, actually, we just launched our Destination New Zealand campaign, which will actually be in concert with Tourism New Zealand and our JV partners United. So you'll see a good amount of marketing collateral in different media in the US, online, social media, etc. Do note that there's some introductory rates that are in the 990 level, 1198 level, but our current partnership with Centrav and our partnership broadly allows you to price in addition to that. So those are commissionable fares. We allow up to 2 additional destination add-ons for $100 for any additions, but you could also price either your commission or net fare on top of this discount. So some additional support to our trade partners broadly. So that's available through October 6th, just as an FYI, good way to kick off the presentation. So for those who are across it, we're a JV partner with United Airlines to Destination New Zealand. We have 6 major mainland gateways out of North America, 7 with Honolulu, Hawaii. And then United Airlines gives us access to another 56 or more gateway destinations. So we're JV partners to Destination New Zealand, which means that, and interline partners or codeshare partners, which means that so long as you have a long haul with Air New Zealand for Destination New Zealand, you could pretty much either take commission or have a net rate for the full itinerary that includes our United JV partner to New Zealand. For Australia, we don't have a JV with United. We have several interline partners, but we're Star Alliance members, so we still have a very strong relationship with United, among others, for Destination Australia as well. This is just a quick route map on a Destination New Zealand and how we fly. For any flight that you take from the US, whether it's New York, Chicago, Houston, LA, San Francisco, Vancouver, Honolulu, you'll fly on the 777 or 787 Dreamliner overnight. So your flight will generally leave between 6 or 9 p.m. out of the US, and you'll land in New Zealand between 6 and 7 a.m. In Auckland. All those are nonstop flights, and what's great about the offer is that you're generally flying overnight or while you're sleeping or in sleeping hours, so it tends to be quite good for anyone who suffers from jet lag for an ultra long haul flight. And just as a general rule of thumb, if you're flying out of the East Coast, so New York, Chicago, you're generally looking at 16 and a half, 17 hours, or from the West Coast, about 11 hours or 9 hours out of Honolulu, Hawaii. And then from there, you have about 22 destinations in domestic New Zealand, with another 9 destinations that you connect to into Australia. And just a note that if you are using us for Destination Australia, you don't have to, you're just passing through, so you don't need to do any connections or customs in New Zealand. You could just do that once you land in Australia. I thought it'd be worthwhile for those that haven't been to New Zealand or just want some factoids or details on Destination New Zealand. New Zealand is a country of 2 islands, North and South Island. Just as a primer, or kind of just a general overview, the North Island is where you'll get more warmer climate or beachside destinations because it's closer to the equator in the North Island. And also it's where it's more populated. So the city centers of Auckland, Wellington, which is the seat of New Zealand government, is where you'll find in North Island, more populated. The whole country only has 5 million people. 4 of them are up in the North Island with about 990,000 in the South Island. Shorter drive times in the North, more cosmopolitan cosmopolitan, and also great geothermal activity, especially around Lake Taupo area in the north. In the South Islands, where you have more cooler climates, you have the polar opposites, so more alpine or kind of southern Alps setups and glaciers. It's where you'll see more of the broad like landscapes or a bit more immersive nature set up in the South Island, as well as some really neat wine destination just north of the South Island, like in Marlborough region, which I'm sure a lot of folks know about in the travel space. Some just details on the destination, and we get a lot of questions on when's best to travel. New Zealand has a pretty temperate climate, so even when you're at the peak of summer or the peak of winter, you're not dealing with some of the really robust seasonal changes that you're seeing in North America. You don't get like 100-degree summers, or if it does happen, it's rather rare. You're generally between 70 and 90 degrees, and in the winter, even the South Island. I was there 2.5 weeks ago and was wearing not much more than this pullover sweater in the South Island, because it gets even to like the 70s when you're in the middle of the winter and in Doubtful Sound, for example. Our peak season tends to be northern winter, so December to February, and then our low season is northern summer, which is or July through August, which is the winter in New Zealand. But in between, I do recommend March through May or the shoulder seasons, or even the low season, because you'll still have the infrastructure of high season without too much crowd situation in New Zealand. And also, you get very beautiful climates, whether it's March or November in New Zealand, which is a kind of our autumn or spring in New Zealand overall. So good things to just keep in mind when you're positioning the destination to New Zealand. And not to mention, that's also when you'll get about 15 to 20% better pricing overall in air as well as on the ground. Some just images that in my recent trips to New Zealand, in the North Island, so as I mentioned, cool Caribbean beaches in the north and geothermal activity. And then in the South Island, you get these really expansive, immersive offers in New Zealand, where you could pretty much break away and lose yourself in the South Island. If you don't want to see anyone, you won't do it. If you want to get away from the world, it's a good place to do it. And also, you'll do it in a very beautiful environment. When people talk about disconnecting or having a kind of a wellness or reacclimation retreat or recovery retreat, this is where most folks will head out to, because you do get to immerse yourself in nature and see the Kiwis, or locals as they're called, when you want to, who are very gracious for you in destination New Zealand. So that's about a bit about the destination. As I mentioned, we do partner a lot with our tourism partner, Tourism New Zealand, and they do have a good amount of resources if you want to learn more about the destination. They have specialist programs, which I'll share with Greg to share with the whole team, on not just learning about destination New Zealand. If you want to have assets or information for your clients, there's a lot on offer there, as well as a New Zealand specialist program where if you get trained up, I know there's a number of Central agents that are New Zealand specialists. Once you get the training, there's a lot of resources to help build your client base to the destination New Zealand, and offers like FAM trips or discounted rates to learn about the destination and do your own FAM when you get out there. So a lot of resources there, which we'll share. And I thought it'd be worthwhile for you to have on hand. And feel free to reach to me, and I'll put you in contact with Tourism New Zealand as well for any questions you have on the destination. The product for Air New Zealand, there's there's a setup of our LOPA for our Dreamliners. We like to kind of showcase what we have on offer today, because there's a lot of updated product that we're doing for destination New Zealand as the carrier. Today, what you'll see in our 787 Dreamliners, or whether it's the Dreamliner configuration or the N800s, is a pretty more distributed, better spacing of the Dreamliner versus prior iterations. So a bit more space in the cabin to get up, walk around, whether it's in business or premium. And then these green highlights is where you'll see our Sky Couch offer. I know some of you know of Sky Couch. If you haven't, there's some details on it. But the way Sky Couch works, which is an economy class offer, is that it's an opportunity to buy the full row and have a full lie-flat option in economy. We don't just give you the row. You actually leg rests go up. We put some additional bedding. It has its own crew, its own offer, its own menu on board that you could enjoy while in flight. And then we have business class as well. so that you could see some of the offer. So in our business class, well, we have robust offer with products for New Zealand, whether it's our food on board, wine, and a specialty list that's available for the team, for travelers. Give me 1 second. For some reason, my webcam opened up again. Let's close that up. What is changing in our offer for the new iteration for New Zealand, for Destination New Zealand with Air New Zealand, is that today we have our configuration includes 4 cabins or 4 products in cabin: Economy Sky Couch, Economy, Premium Economy, and Business Premier. While of course there's a lot of comfort in Business Premier and Economy and Premium Economy, Air New Zealand, we do invest a good amount in economy, given that a good number of travelers do travel economy. There's investments not just in Sky Couch to make it a bit more accessible, but also an upgrade of Sky Couch, in addition to some changes in our base economy offer or economy standard offer to have a more narrow and more efficient seating. Premium Economy is also getting some investment to allow for more privacy, and Business Premier is also having some updates to align with what we're seeing that most travelers looking for, which is a bit more privacy, a bit more space in the front of the plane, as well as some additional comforts when you're traveling with someone or individually. So what changes in the cabin configuration for the coming year, which will start in Vancouver and then in Houston with a retrofit of our 787 Dreamliners as well as our 777s, is that you'll have more offer in flight. So in economy, we're doing things, we're doing updates to our product so that the chair seating is a bit more efficient and allows for more space. We'll have something called Economy Stretch, which are lateral to Economy Sky Couch that has a bit more pitch to lie back and more space for your legs. Economy Sky Couch will also have some additional seating in each of the planes. And we have something called Sky Nest that I'm sure some of you have come across. It's a bunk bed in the sky that I'll have more details on, and I'm sure there'll be some questions about. Premium Economy, we're having some updates there in the seating so that you have more of a cocoon chair feel, so you have a bit more privacy when you lie back and you're not looking too closely to the person next to you when you're going to sleep. And then Business Premier and Business Premier Lux is really where we're setting a new standard on comfort in flights, with more space that's similar to Polaris, but a bit more pitch and more space for your shoulders and for some of our bigger players like rugby players that travel a lot with us. And then Business Premier Lux is pretty much an offer a private cabin suite in business class for travelers to New Zealand. We know that when you travel, do ultra long haul flights, people are investing a bit more to make the experience to start when they fly. And with Air New Zealand in particular, we're quite keen, and it's something that we find rather important, that you start your flight or you start your travel when you fly and not when you land in New Zealand. So what does this look like? Business Premier Lux, what we've done is have a section of the plane where the first row of Business Premier is this Lux cabin offer. It allows for up to 2 individuals to sit across from each other and then lie flat for the individual. And so to allow for more bedding space or lie flat space, but also have these little creature comforts that make the cabin a bit more spacious for the individuals. So for Business Premier Lux, these individual pods will close off if you want them to, so you have more privacy and you want to go to sleep. There'll be 8 of these cabins in offer for our 787 Dreamliner and for our 777s, because there will be 2 sections of business. And then the rest of the cabin, which we're expecting another 46 seats to be available, will be our Business Premier offer. There are also other creature comforts like MagSafe, safe charging on the console table, more privacy, lock away or storage for items for when people are in business to put away their things, and just general more comfort in flight for that front of cabin traveler. For standard Business Premier offer, what we're seeing here is that we're making an update that's similar to Polaris, but a bit more space. Do note that a good number of our travelers are rugby players, and if you've seen a rugby player, they're a bit bigger, especially in the shoulders. So they'll be able to enjoy their space with a bit more comfort. One thing that we were keen to do with the new livery is have sections of the plane where you could get up, have a stretch, have a yoga pose if you need to, but also just enjoy the cabin a bit more versus the prior iteration that had a bit more busy functionality. Here, the idea is leaning into more comfort. So less seating in the plane, but a bit more allowance of space. So as I mentioned, 2 sections in business class. This first row will be business premier luxe. Premium economy will have a better configuration as well, with a bit more space and more a cocoon chair kind of fitting. Economy stretch will be throughout the cabin, and sky couch as well spread throughout, so that you have lateral cabins that have a bit more space. And then, as I mentioned, economy class seating that's a bit more efficient, that also allows better pitch and just comfort in flight. When compared to the current cabin, you can see that there's just a bit more focus on not having a busy and a crowded plane, but having a bit more comfort in flight. So for those that haven't seen Sky Couch, the way it works is that when you have your economy class seat, you could upgrade to buy the next 2 seats for yourself or for a +1. Generally, we'll see this for parents that travel with toddlers or teenagers or college kids or lean athletic couples that want to have cuddle class, as we call it. The idea here is to have a bit more comfort in economy class. You do get this upgrade where whether for each long haul flight for an upgrade of $350 or $500 per leg, you can have an upgrade in Sky Couch, so you have the full row to yourself. You do have the full row for the full flight. Sometimes I'll get the question of, hey, do I have to tell people who are sitting next to me that I want to lie down? No, the way it works is that once you have that upgrade, it's an EMD charge once you make the upgrade. You have the full row, so it's assigned as 23A BC instead of just 23A if you have that Sky Couch row. So in each plane, you'll have 18 to as many as 22 Sky Couches available. I believe in the new iteration, it could be as many as 26 of these rows. Again, leaning into more comfort and economy, where we're seeing more folks wanting to have that offer. And in general, this upgrade is about 20% or 25% of the price of premium economy, or about 20% of the cost of business class. So it is a more accessible offer. Premium economy is also getting an upgrade with these more cocoon chaired layouts, so that when you lie back in economy, you have a bit more privacy to the person next to you. I've used premium economy, and sometimes when you're leaning back, you might look lovingly into someone's eyes as you go to sleep, which is a bit odd if you're traveling by yourself, but this allows for a bit more privacy there. And as I mentioned, it is a private cabin suite, it's a different cabin. It's a separate cabin suite to the rest of the plane. So you have your own crew, your own menu on board, and your own service team that's available for you during the flight. Something that we've had a lot of interest in the design, but also some recent awards that's coming to market. It'll be in New York actually as of this time next year, and I believe in Vancouver as of November of this year, with a new iteration of cabins or the new Dreamliner retrofits. It's our economy Sky Couch. The idea here is that we want to lean in a bit to what we have on offer today. In Sky Couch, people do want a lie flat option in economy that gives them comfort in flight that isn't at the price point of business class. And the way we could do it is similarly in price to what we do in economy Sky Couch, economy Skynest. The idea here is that you'd buy this upgrade for a few set hours, and you'd be able to lie flat once that's available for you. The idea here is that in addition to your economy class seat, once you want to lie down for 4, 6, 8 hours, whatever the case might be, you could lie flat in economy for a duration of the flight and then go back to your seat for takeoff and landing or for meal service, what have you. So a lot of interest here. There's a lot of questions, of course, about pricing and how it's going to be done. That's still being sussed out because, of course, it's not just a product that has to be executed by the commercial team, but also by crew, cabin, and the operation team. But the idea here is that you'll be able to upgrade for a number of hours. Out of New York, there's probably 2 rotations of 8 hours versus LA, that might be 2 rotations or of 5 hours. That's still being sussed out, but it'll be an upgrade similar to Sky Couch, where it's about 300 to 500 or 400 to 600, depending on seasonality, into Sky Couch that you'd be able to use during your flight. So a lot of interest there. A lot of accolades recently for innovation in flights, and we're seeing especially families or groups or student travelers are quite excited about this offer, especially for New York, Chicago, and Houston, where we expect to have that offer with the new livery, and then out of Vancouver with the retrofit livery that's coming in market. There are also other markets like Singapore that will likely have this because of the demand for that flight into New Zealand, among others. As I'm sure a lot of you are aware, there's a lot of questions on sustainability for the airlines. And while Air New Zealand recently did a 360 on our commitment for 2030 on carbon emissions and SAF fuels, and that's more of an issue of complexity relating to SAF fueling access in New Zealand, we are doing things on the ground with sustainability that are more holistic and speaks to the airline. While that's like a very early design back from 2020 or 2022, we are actually currently in market testing some EV flights for cargo that we are quite excited about. The idea here is that for EV vehicles that you could operate as aircraft, Air New Zealand is in a very unique position in that something like 40% of our domestic fleet, or most of our domestic fleet, is within 120, 160 kilometers of flight, which is in range for most EV vehicles. And it allows us to test kind of these offers in our domestic market. And we're currently actually doing some tests between Wellington and Blenheim, which is a short haul flight where we're testing to offer cargo transfers for those trips. Of course, there's a lot of testing that has to go into it, but what's exciting about it is that if EV vehicles are a potential aircraft opportunity, Air New Zealand could actually have the market to offer this in flight at the moment. So we're currently testing, obviously, with 2 passengers, which is the cargo manager or the cargo person on flights, and then the pilots and to between Wellington and Blenheim. The idea there is to see if we could actually have this range, and if it works, start scaling it and testing it in other markets. The reality is, if you change this model of domestic flights with EV vehicles, you can have a bigger impact for an operator like New Zealand, domestic New Zealand, because there's operations like Christchurch Airport that are already 100% off the kind of fossil fuel energy sources for the airport. So you have these batteries in country that could sustain your EV projects, and it's a more holistic approach to EV, and we're testing this in addition to other models like SAF fuels, and we're quite excited about it. So just a point there on sustainability, because we know that it is an important question that comes up for New Zealand or for the kind of aviation broadly. I think that's most of the run. I'll leave this in the background because it is like a model run that we have for destination New Zealand, or what we have an offer for Air New Zealand. It has a quick like recap on the updates that we're doing. For example, Premium Economy and Business Premier Lux. There's a lot of upgrades happening there, and there's a lot of investment that's happened from our design team. So I'll leave this in the background as I give an eye to some of the questions that came up. And I invite you guys to send questions. There's been a number of them actually, so I'll review them as the video goes through. So question that I have, so South Island, it says, when you say South Island is cooler, what is the temperature range? So good thing about the South Island is that there's in the winter, which was actually wrapping up now, so they're going into the spring at the moment. Peak kind of winter temperature would be about 40 degrees US, 42 degrees in the early morning. Very rarely are you talking about freezing temperatures in the deep South Island, unless of course you're in like the glacier on a glacial hike. Generally, New Zealand winter is quite temperate. High 40s, 50s is generally what you'll see in the city centers, and then even in the deep south, like Southland and Invercargill, you might get down to 40s, but it won't be like a winter snowstorm that blankets the country. You might see a frost in the morning, but it pretty much levels off. As I mentioned, I was there in July, which is the peak, or end of July, late July, early August, which is kind of peak winter. Early morning was in the 40s. By midday, I had to pull over and was walking around Invercargill and even Queenstown. So you get a good temperature even in winter. And also, it's a great time to be in New Zealand because, as I mentioned, it's not peak. You get really good value, and also the service on the ground is quite robust because they're starting to ramp up for the high season period. So, question on how does Skynest work? By Susan, thanks. So the way Skynest works, and I'll go back to Skynest because it does have a good number of questions. The way it works is that it's a lie flat option economy. It's going to be bunk beds in the sky. So these pods that you're seeing, there'll be 2 sets of pods of 6, total of 12 Skynests offers in each flight. You'll have your economy class seat that you purchase, and then you'll EMD upgrade into Skynest the way you would today Sky Couch. How you book the 4, 6, or 8 hours is what we're finalizing as a product in the system, but it'll work very similar to Sky Couch. And when it comes to Sky Couch, which is an offer today, the way it works is that once you have your economy class seat booked, you could reprice that record so that you have the full row, whether it's for 1 person or 2, and then there's an auto price EMD charge that you would add to the record. Similar to adding a bag or a seat assignment, it's an EMD charge to the passenger for Skynest. Can you please tell us if fares are refundable? Yes, we do have refundable fares. It's based on class of service purchase. So we have refundable fares in all cabins. Generally, our sale fares are a bit more restrictive, but yeah, we have multiple class of service that are refundable, and it's a matter of looking at the published fare rules for those. So, Mod, thanks for that. Can we? There were some questions on seat assignment in the system. Yes, you can do seat assignment in the system. At times, I will be fully honest. Once you've issued, at times there might be a glitch in the system that requires our sales support desk to be or for us to reach out to our sales support desk. So I'm happy to put in contact with the team. But generally, you're able to select and price in the system for any seat assignment. There was a question by Christopher on, is the Sky Couch set up as a bed during the entire flight? So generally, the way Sky Couch works is that when you're in flight, the team will set up Sky Couch. Sorry, I'm trying to flip through into Sky Couch. Apologies for that. The way it works is that you'll have your seat, and during takeoff and landing, generally you'll be sitting up in your seats for even though you have the full row. Once after the meal service or when you're ready, you'll ask the team to set up your Sky Couch. The way it works is that the leg rests go up. They'll put mattress pad cover and bedding on your Sky Couch seat so that you could have a lie flat option economy. But the team will set it up for you. You could have it during the duration of the flight, but I believe takeoff and landing, for both health and safety reasons, will generally ask folks to sit up and use their assigned seat. So good question there, Chris. Question on whether passengers wear seatbelts when they're in Skynest and in lying position. So, or how does it work? So we generally get a good amount of questions there on that. Generally, the way it works is similar to business class. When you're lying down, there is an additional seatbelt that goes over your shoulder that affixes to the waist seatbelt. There's a very similar setup for Sky Couch and Skynest there to allow for safety in the event of turbulence in flight. Doesn't really change. You don't wear during the duration of the whole flight. If you're lying down, of course, it's recommended that you do wear it so for additional safety. But yeah, there are those offers for Sky Couch and Skynest. You're not in like the lie flat position during the duration of the flights, so you're not like strapped down in flight the whole run. The idea there is that when you're ready to lie down, that's set up for you, and the additional safety or like seatbelts are given to you at that time. So it's quite intuitive, and we generally don't have too much issue there on those product features. A lot of questions on SkyCouch and SkyNest, so great to see the enthusiasm there. Is there access for premium economy tickets? At the moment, there is not. You could purchase access in most of the domestic lounges, so it's not standard for premium economy to have lounge access. Most of the travelers do have gold status in Star Alliance or the like, so that would give you access. But it's a fair point to just note that business class or premium business premier is what would give you access for our lounges, whether it's the Core Lounge out of LA or Star Alliance lounges broadly. In New Zealand, generally, the other thing to note is that if you're gold status in Star Alliance, you'd have access to lounge broadly, but it is not a standard offer for premium economy. Few more questions on SkyNest, but I think those are covered. How far back does premium economy seat go? I will say that it is a very comfortable seat. I've done it a few times myself. I've done a FAM with a number of agents who insist that they will get a flu if they're in anything but business class or even clients. And a lot of folks are pleasantly surprised that it is quite comfortable. I would generally compare our premium economy seats to U.S. Business class for most domestic flights. So if you've done United in most domestic flights, business class there is very similar to our premium economy seating. I think that's the best way to give you kind of run on how comfortable, how much pitch you get there to lie back. There's a clarification asked for SkyNest. Do we book an economy seat and then rent the SkyNest? Yes, that's exactly the idea. You would have your economy class seat, and you'd have that seat for the duration of the flight, and then you would have an EMD upgrade into SkyNest for the 4, 6, 8 hours that it's available. So SkyCouch, a lot of question on whether there's comfort there. Yeah, so look, I've used SkyCouch myself, and I would look at the reviews online. We do get a lot of good accolades, especially for families, young adults, actually adults of all ages and sizes. We do get a lot of good accolades on the comfort of SkyCouch, whether it's an economy class seats that you're sitting on or lying flat. A lot of folks like the option to have both, especially when people just want to have the option to pull up their legs or just lie down for a bit during the flights. There's a good amount of comfort and good accolades there. We generally get awards for SkyCouch offer and kind of innovation in flights in economy. A question on reminder for U.S. airports. We do fly out of New York, LA, San Francisco, Chicago, Houston, Vancouver, and Honolulu. So those are the 7 U.S. gateways. And then generally through our partners like United and Star Alliance, we have another 56 gateways in North America or more. And then WestJet we generally use to partner for Canada. Question on continuing on to Australia. If you are continuing to Australia, would your connection be on Air New Zealand or another airline? For the cancel service to translate? So that's a good question, because we have a lot of codeshare partners for Australia. We're due to update the codeshare agreements with Virgin out of Australia. We do have codeshare agreements with Qatar, Air Fiji, Air Tahiti Nui. So whether it's with Air New Zealand or a codeshare partner, when you do transit to Australia, you do not do customs in New Zealand. You would do it in Australia, whether it's with us or a codeshare partner. So good question there. NZETA fees. It's a good question, more for Tourism New Zealand, but I'm happy to take it on. So yes, there is a change happening for NZETA. I believe that if you have your NZETA booked before October 1st, you're fine with the current fee level at, I believe it's 25 US, give or take. After that, it jumps up to about 60 USD, which is 100 New Zealand, for January flights forward. Actually, it's a good point, and Greg, I'll send you a copy of that so that you have it on hand, or just details to have for destination New Zealand. And do take in mind, if you're going to New Zealand or Australia, even if you're connecting to Australia, and not stopping in New Zealand, you do need an Australia and travel authority, or the Australia ETA as well. So you should have both for travelers that are doing New Zealand and Australia. Even if you're transiting to Australia, you do also need your NZ ETA. Good points there to have, or admin to keep in mind. Over a single adult. Yeah, so there was a question, like specific question on like adults plus child for Sky Couch and seasonality for Sky Couch. So Sky Couch isn't generally available for high season dates, and those are specific times of the year. So if you are doing an adult plus child for Sky Couch, sometimes that will not be available because it's seasonal dependent. So it's high season. If it's peak season or high season, you generally won't be able to do a Sky Couch because of the number of seats that we reduce with Sky Couch in those times of the year. What I will share is what the code entry is to price Sky Couch, and then the seasonality as well. I think that'd be helpful for anyone that's trying to buy that product and that product broadly. So what amenities does business class offer and padding for bed? So pajamas and the like. So a good question, and sorry to get into the details of business class. So generally, a business class offer, it's award winning. We actually won best in class service and experience for AirTrax, and then for Skytrax, and then Air Ratings for 2024 or 2023 rather. 24, so we've won now twice in a year. Our business class offers, pretty robust amenity kits, food, and then snacks, kind of nonstop throughout the flights. While we don't have standard offer of pajamas that gets asked a good amounts, there's a mattress bed cover that goes on lie flat, so it's very robust, kind of there's like foam mattress cover of a dedicated staff on board, New Zealand wines, and dedicated meals that are offered by Michelin star chefs from New Zealand. So it's a very robust offer. There was a really neat review on the Points Guy recently on our JFK Auckland flight that really speaks to the product offer in the different cabins, if you want details there. But yeah, we do get really good accolades. It's generally between us, Qatar Airlines, Singapore, on winning best in-cabin flight experience in business, premium, and economy. So you're in good hands, to say the least. And then in particular, our crew does get a lot of accolades because they do a really good job, not just learning about the passengers that are in premium or in business or throughout the cabin, but wanting to learn on recommendations that they can give them. So one thing that we do hear a lot of is, I feel like I'm in New Zealand as soon as I'm in flight, not just from the Kiwis. It's like, I feel like I'm home as soon as I get on Air New Zealand. But a lot of travelers say, my trip did start once I was in flights because of that comfort and New Zealand Kiwi warmth that we bring on board. So do rest assured, and if you do have feedback to bring back, happy to hear it as well. We do share it quite robust with our team. We do get a lot of letters as well to cabin crew about their experience on board. So when that happens, and I'm sure when you send clients, you will get it. Feel free to share with us, and we're happy to bring it forward. So I think I covered most of the questions. If I didn't, my apologies. But happy to also field them. I think I'm hitting like the 40-ish minute mark, and I didn't want to bore anyone. So actually, good question on bags. We include standard and economy 2 bags round trip. That includes our interline partners. We do not put additional fees for those 2 bags, and you get a carry-on as well. So it's, people are traveling to New Zealand, to this part of the world. They're going to need more bags. They're definitely traveling for a lot further. 2 bags are included. We're not going to nickel and dime you. It's not our way of operating. Just a good point to include there. And that includes also most of our sales fares. So even the sales that you have today, that includes 2 bags and then your carriage. And our interline partners will generally have that standard offer. So if you're connecting with us out of Miami to Houston, the United flights out of Fort Lauderdale, Tampa, or Miami would include those 2 bags for you. Any plans on departures out of other parts of other gateways? Not just yet. There's still a lot of work to be had. We're still waiting on flights. As I mentioned, we're waiting on the new livery to come for New York, where we'll be able to increase capacity from 3 times a week, ideally to 5 times a week. Just FYI, New York flight is only 3 times a week. So if it is busy or if it is expensive, it is because of that. So apologies there, but we are putting up capacity. A lot of capacity coming online for Houston as well with the 777s. But we're waiting on more planes to come online. So Boeing, I believe, owes us about 8 airplanes. 2 of those or 3 of those are coming into North America. We're expecting to add more additional capacity there. Reactivating as well routes like Chicago because we had a suspension because of needs of flights. And also, yeah, there is chatter about additional routes. But once those happen, those ideas come to play, well, I'll be sure to reach out so that we have another recording to let the Centrav team know the latest. But do keep an eye out because we are keen to continue our growth in North America. We've had robust support to New Zealand, Australia for the likes of partners like Centrav, and we're happy to support it. And beyond that, I think that covers it. Yeah, feel free to drop me any additional questions that you have if I missed your question. And oh yeah, there was actually just one last one before I hand over to Greg. There was questions on like the Centrav offering and product details. I will send a summary of that to Greg and team so we can share to the whole group. But for Centrav, we have pretty robust discounts programs, net programs, as well as commissionable fare programs that are available in addition to any sales product that's out there. So there's a standard published product in the GDS on airnewzealand.com and broadly. We do keep parity. You should never see a price on airnewzealand.com or on your GDS or price with Centrav that's different unless there's an exclusive offer for Centrav. If you do let us know because we are keen to correct those. But yeah, we do have a robust program for Centrav that starts in the low single digits to gets up to the high double digits in commissions, discounts, or net fare products that allow you to book up to 45 days out from departure. And happy to just summarize that and send it to the group as well if it's helpful, which I'll review with Greg.